Okay, here we have a 2007 BMW 530i. Although 2003 to 2010 should be similar. We're going to do the rear brakes and then we're going to do the front brakes. Here's the tools that we need to get going. It's really nice to have a 4-way lug wrench. Really nice to have a jack. You're going to need a 7mm hex socket. BFS, a very large screwdriver or pry bar, and a 6-inch or even 5-inch. This is a 5-inch C-clamp. It was just barely large enough. A little brush to clean things up a little bit. This packet of grease, this is a silicone grease. This is from BMW. It's silicone grease and of course replacement brake pads. I highly recommend ceramic brake pads because they have a lot less brake dust, but the factories are semi-metallic, so take your pick. There's 10 different manufacturers that make these things. Okay, step number 1. We remove the clip. Here's a nice little spring clip, and the way to do this is you pry it back, and then it comes right out. Oops, came out easy. Okay, the second thing is you have to remove the plastic caps. See these little plastic caps? Back here there's a soft rubber thing here. We can't really get the camera on it, but there's a soft rubber boot, and these caps go into the end of the boot. You pry them out, and then once you pry them out, then you'll be able to get to the guide pins, and the guide pins require 7mm wrench to take out. Okay, this is the guide pin. There's 2 guide pins, and there's kind of a trick on this, and you kind of see how there's a little bit of black sticky stuff on here. That's what we're going to have to use the brake cleaner. We're going to have to clean this thing off, and after we're all done, lubricate it up when we reinsert it. But here's the trick. Here's my 7mm wrench. When you unscrew this thing, the threads only take it out about a ½ an inch, and there's still a rubber boot up here, so you can't grab a hold of this thing. It's hard to pull it out. It rotates freely, but I can't get it out. So what you do is you use the 7mm, put it in there, and then you twist with side torque, and then you can pull it out. And that's the trick of getting these things out. So I'm going to clean this thing all up and get it lubricated before I put it back in. And it's really important that you use silicone grease, because you don't want to use petroleum-based grease because it could attack the rubber parts that are used in the brakes. So remember, silicone grease only. Now we have to compress the piston back in the caliper. On one end, I'm on the main part of the caliper, and the caliper floats in this bracket. And on the other end, I've got this bracket. So I just very carefully tighten this thing in. It really doesn't take a lot of force. It's moving, it's moving, it's moving. Now it's nice and loose, and I'm just gonna do it all the way. What the hell, since I'm doing it here, because these things got to be compressed in there. But now it's all fully compressed and just comes right out. Okay, here's the new brake pad, and here's the sensor, and you kind of see the sensor. Has a little bit of copper along here. It kind of snaps in. It just snaps in, and we're gonna have to pull out the old sensor. I left off a tool. We're going to have maybe have like a long nose pliers. I'm going to pull the old sensor off, and then we got new sensors here, and so that's basically the way the sensor works. It just snaps into this little slot right here. So I got a pair of long nose pliers. There's the old sensor. Gently wiggle. Oh, it came right off. And now I'll take the brake pad out. Okay, I greased the sliding points, the friction points. So you can see right here, this is a point to where it slides back and forth. And up here, there's a point to where it slides back and forth. And then along here, and along here is the main part. Then we put a little bit of grease along the back of the piston. And then of course we're going to put some grease on the guide pins. The guide pins go through these 2 little rubber things here. And those are the areas that we added the grease. Okay, now we're taking the C-clamp and fully pushing the piston in. It wasn't fully pushed in from the first time. And you can either just use the C-clamp alone, or you can have the old brake pad in there. Right now we have the old brake pad in there, and we're tightening up the C-clamp and pushing the piston in fully. And just make it snug. You don't go crazy tightening in there. Just make it snug. We put the 2 pads in there. Put the caliper into place. So then we snapped on the sensor. The sensor is snapped it back on. And now we're ready to put the guide pins in. We're going to put some grease on the guide pins, tighten up the guide pins, put the caps over the ends, and replace the spring clip, and then we'll be done.